And mine's working now, and y'all's isn't working again. Oh God, I love this.
Brick.
I mean, do we
There we
what
go.
happens
Now it
when
should
you
be
have
working.
daylight savings and not tell the lawmaster.
Mhm. I forget that we just forget that you exist sometimes.
Is the U.S. the only one that does daylight savings?
Probably.
Oh no, ours is in 2 weeks.
You have daylight savings?
Yeah.
Oh, that's gonna be weird.
We probably created
Why?
daylight savings.
You know
It's
what?
created by the
English,
Germans.
so it makes sense that it's British.
It's created by the
I
Germans.
just thought it was an American thing. I thought we were the only ones who can control time.
If
We're
I'm
all
not
just fake British
mistaken,
people anyway.
it was created by the Germans in one of the world wars.
Oh, that makes sense.
And we've just kept it since then. Just like, yeah, we'll just keep it forever.
We forgot
Abolish it.
to notice that it was a bad thing.
But we talk about it every year now, and no one's like, yeah, well, let's just go ahead and fix that problem.
Mm-hmm.
We could literally fix it by just not doing it anymore, but we're not going to fix that problem.
Yeah, but you gotta think about the farmers.
It has nothing to do with the farmers at all.
It has nothing. I feel like
nothing.
It has something to do with
it
the
has
farmers.
something to do with the farmers.
No,
Look it up.
I'm pretty
It has
sure it has
nothing to do with the farmers.
I'm gonna look it up right now.
Hey Jamie, pull that up.
This is how we start every one of our D&D streams, by the way, guys. By not playing D&D.
Invented it.
Oh, George Hudson? He's definitely German.
He's German for sure.
In 1895.
America was like, what, 5 years old at that point?
What, it said 1995?
1895.
Oh, okay.
It's a way to save energy and to get more use out of natural daylight.
Yep.
Ah, yes, save energy. All the energy we used in 1895.
That's what it was for. It was to save fuel back in one of the world wars.
Rolling in his fucking grave now.
It doesn't do us any good now.
I'm going to post this in chat because everyone needs to see this stupid thing that I just found about daylight savings. I'll post it in our Discord and in this chat. Because I dare not speak that out loud.
Damn. All right.
All right, Kevin, you can have the reins now, and we can possibly do what we came here to do.
I'm really scared for a day when we have to do D&D without Kevin to like rein us in.
We did that for like a year and a half.
Yeah, and it didn't go well.
I mean, we had
took a lot longer.
We had some great times. That is true.
We laughed a lot.
We lost characters when on the sessions Kevin couldn't make. It's no big deal.
We lost characters on the session Kevin could make.
I don't think anyone died on my watch.
Derek
Oh yes, my actual character
Ragnar.
that was trying to save everyone.
Oh, there was that one time.
That was out of character himself. But
I still remember the day that we decided to go raid Strahd's castle and Kevin couldn't play. And by the end of the session, Orden's lying dead, and we're all like, we should have waited for Kevin.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. I would have been fine if I didn't roll a 1 on my death save.
Yeah. You just got to do better next time.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let that happen. Take the lucky feat.
All right, it's yours now, Kevin.
Right, excellent. Okay. So, it was at the start of the Second Age, after the war in Beleriand and the War of Wrath, the Elves moved to the east into Eriador. There they established the kingdom of Linden. After forming a friendship with the dwarves of Khazad-dûm, they built a city, Osten Ethel, in Eregion. There, the great craftsmen of the Noldor, the High Elves, began crafting many wondrous items. The leader of this city at that time was Celebrimbor. He was the grandson of the greatest elven smith, the one who forged the Silmarils, Feanor. Celebrimbor led a group of jewelsmiths. Amongst those jewelsmiths was Aurelian's father. During this time of peace and prosperity, the elves made fair lands in Middle Earth, thinking that the shadow of evil had left Middle Earth. However, at some point early in the Second Age, a mysterious figure arrived in the kingdom of Linden, seeking to give knowledge and gifts to the elves. The High King Gil-galad at this time turned this stranger away. Being suspicious of him, Elrond was his herald. He too was suspicious of this character. However, the Noldor elves, led by Celebrimbor in Eregion, they were thirsty for knowledge, thirsty to make Middle Earth great again. There, he accepted the one known as Anatar, the giver of gifts. And there, with the knowledge of Anatar, they forged many powerful rings. However, the gift that was given by Anatar was tainted. For Anatar was Sauron in disguise. And his plan was to aid the elves in creating powerful rings in which to give to the peoples of Middle Earth, for Sauron to go to Mordor and in the fires of Mount Doom forge the One Ring, using the knowledge that he gave to the elves in forging these powerful rings to then dominate the wearer of each and every one. However, before the greater rings were forged, there were many lesser rings forged. Aurelion's father, being one of the jewelsmiths, made one of these long ago. Then Sauron, creating the One Ring in secret to dominate the others, put on the One Ring, and the wearers of the 7 and the 9 and the 3 were aware of him. The 3 elven rings Sauron had no hand in making and were kept by the elven lords Círdan, Gil-galad, and Galadriel. They were hidden from Sauron. Sauron went to war to reclaim the other rings, destroying Eregion, killing Celebrimbor. And it was in this destruction of Eregion that Aurelion, as a small child, fled with his sister, mother. With the refugees, with Elrond, he and his family ended up in Rivendell. And the elves looked like they were in a dark place. Their forces swept away by those of Sauron until the Númenóreans came. The Rangers of the North are now the descendants of those Númenóreans, and together with the elves, they drove Sauron out of Eriador and back to Mordor. A long peace lasted again, and the Second Age went on. The kingdom of Númenor rose ever higher, and in its hubris fell disastrously, being destroyed. There, the ships of Elendil, a descendant of the king, led refugees of the Númenóreans, those that were faithful to the Valar and Eru Ilúvatar, and returned to Middle Earth to rule as men of the West and high men of Middle Earth now. They established the Kingdom of Arnor in the north and Gondor in the south. The Kingdom of Arnor fell, and the kingship of Gondor not long afterwards. Left are the scattered remnants of the Dunedain in the north, one of which, Damrod, is one. But it is the tale of the ring after Aurelian's excursion to find his sister in Eregion, discovering the truths of the past, discovering a hidden vault within Eregion, and finding it empty of what he sought. Aurelian has since been on the trail to find information of what was lost, a ring. Of Ariador, meeting up with the two humans, the Dunedain Ranger of the North, and far from his homeland, from across the mountains, Maracar, the Quiet. They have since long fought through hardships and peril, and have formed their own fellowship of sorts. Arriving in Bree to find the trail gone cold, but with a stroke of luck, maybe, or perhaps fate, they were steered again back in the right direction. They returned to Bree after accomplishing their task with the head of a troll, an ancient elven blade, a lucky carved wooden rabbit, a piece of armor of Dunedain descent, and probably the key to it all, a map. A map of Timaeus Hafferton, who had passed away. It was buried on his body. It was buried with him, and is now in the possession of Aurelian. All leads led to Timaeus, and so with all ends now come to a dead end, only the map remains as a lead, a clue to where Aurelian is to go next. The Fellowship stands outside the gates of once more as they return. Who would like to give me a D8?
Which of you guys are feeling lucky?
I'll do it.
7.
So
Okay. It is late in the evening, but not yet nightfall. You maybe have an hour left of daylight as you were to return back to the gate.
Maracar, you're perhaps the one with which the guards have the least problems, so maybe you should be the one to knock on the gates.
And Maracar has been kind of in his own head as we've been approaching, and he looks over to you and says, "I'm sorry, what?"
Rook, would you mind?
seeing as how they like people like you and not us, maybe you should go talk to the gate guard, so we can get in.
Yeah. I can do that. And Maracar would walk up to the gate guard. And he'd have a big old hand wave, and he'd say, "Hello."
A hooded figure or a hooded head appears over the top of the fence in the usual position, as you've noticed recently. Hello there, travellers. You do not recognise this gate guard this time.
Gotcha. You'd say, may we enter, please?
He sort of looks up at the sky. The four of you? Aye, you can. What be your business?
Our business is our own.
Oh,
And Maracar would look back and be like, "Oh, we're just visiting. We're passers through. We've been in town, in and out for the past few days."
all right. Oh, I see. You must be the ones that have stirred a bit of trouble up in town. Well, never mind.
We
Still, you
we
can-
definitely didn't mean to.
I know. Well, I've heard some of the rumours. Trolls. Did you find your troll? And you see him like hop down
yeah.
from wherever he is behind the gate.
Good.
You see him like begin. Well, you hear him begin to as he's moving the gate, the barred gate, twists it round and pulls it open a little bit.
And
Damrod
as he's opening up
takes
the gate, Maracar is just holding the head.
So are you both holding it, like one in each hand?
An ear each.
Yeah. We've both got one pigtail of the
Maracar
troll.
has a
Like-
big smile on his face.
Yeah, this gate guard, he pulls open the gate, and like he sort of, I imagine, sees Rookun and Relion maybe like come through first, and he gives you a polite nod. And you can see he's got this big grin on his face, like he's made a joke about something that like everyone's been laughing about, and he thinks you know it is just a
he
joke.
made a good one.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, like Maracar comes through first, shuffling through sideways, I guess, and he's like still grinning, and then he sort of, everyone just sees his jaw go, and the smile just like wastes away off his face as Damrod follows up in the rear, helping carry this troll head.
That's a troll.
I will like just stand off to the side and cross my arms and just kind of smirk.
He's literally just like
What were you saying about trolls?
And he remembers that he shuts the gate quickly and bars the gate, as if like there's another troll's about to burst through it. And he goes,
It's okay. There's only one.
I think you should go see the Reeve. Yeah. That's a troll. Yeah, I think at best you go see the Reeve.
Where
Is
is
that
Mr.
thing.
Reeve?
Oh, and he sort of gives you the directions up towards his house. You can see the key on the map on Roll20. So he gives you directions which way to go. In fact, would anyone like to give me a riddle? As he's still talking a bit of gibberish. Let's see if you can discern his directions.
Gotcha,
I'll riddle it. Okay,
I
maybe
thought you meant,
Maracar
like-
can riddle it.
I thought you meant like Tom or something.
You got a nat 20 and you don't even have anything.
With the -1.
-1.
Does that like say make it
Merrick-
not?
That's what I was wondering.
I feel like Maracar's just he's so stupid that he just gets it. It makes sense to him. And he doesn't even know why.
I like that better than if I had gotten it actually.
Because oh yeah, it's right up the road and you take a right.
Yeah, that's it. So you you can see that there are people perhaps starting to return from their work, more so than going out, as you saw in the morning when you first came back after your first troll excursion. And you can see that they're coming in, they're carrying their tools, maybe a barrow here and there, making their way back to their homes. Perhaps some of them beginning to prepare to make the journey to the Prancing Pony for a few beverages after a hard day's work.
Do we see the guys that were making fun of us?
Give me a D4. Let me have a look on the right place. No, but you do see several people like stopping, and again that same expression as the gate guard had, just sort of, and then then the shock like wears off them, and they realize that that's a troll head, and you see them like scurry off back in towards their homes as fast as possible. You do see, however, do you remember those the hobbits on your first visit? Your
How could we
first time
forget?
through?
Who could
Yeah.
forget that?
There's like 3 or 4 of them just standing around smoking. There's like just 3 or 4 of them just standing around smoking. For some reason they're standing on your route back, and they're just like, like just casual as hell, just as if it's an everyday occurrence that people are carrying a troll head.
These guys are
This is
so
not-
chill.
Yeah, you want some of
Some of
their
that
pipe
pipe weed will do that.
It's a pipe weed,
Yeah.
yeah. As we
Go
nothing
for
to
it.
say. As we walk past him with this troll head, just look. Have anything to say now?
Oh, well, I see. Don't see many of them, do you, around these parts? Always heard that there was trolls. Have you heard of trolls? Never believed it myself, but there they are. Is it stone yet? I mean, it's daylight out and all.
Oh wait, does it turn to stone?
No, it's supposed to turn to stone when it's in the sunlight. It's not, right?
It hasn't, no.
Okay.
Wait, trolls turn to stone in the daylight?
Yep, that's why it couldn't come out.
Yeah, haven't you seen Lord of the Rings, Nate? There's a whole story and scene. There's a whole scene in The Hobbit
Really?
about it.
There's actually two. Actually, two.
Oh wow, look at that.
There's references to it in like the first movie.
Well, Maracar would ask the same thing.
You haven't even seen the shark scene from The Lord of the Rings?
There's a shark scene?
Yeah, they go hunting for a shark on a boat.
I don't think that's true.
You can't prove it though.
Yeah, they just need a bigger boat at some
Totally
point.
happened.
Yeah.
Huh, that's interesting.
Then they put like a thing of gasoline down its throat and then shoot it with a gun and it explodes.
I don't believe you.
That's fine. You don't have to believe me. It's true.
Mixed Nuts said
well, when you put it that way.
Mixed Nuts said we cut the troll in half, so it's going to grow into 2 more now.
No, that only happens if you if you bury it. Then it comes out of the
Oh,
ground.
like a little troll tree?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. I see.
Where they spawn from.
No, there we go. So we're
Sorry,
making our
not
way
sorry,
to
Kevin.
we're making our way to the tavern to show the dudes, right?
Oh yeah.
Assuming they're there.
I mean,
Where's
where else?
the
Where
tavern?
else are these guys gonna go?
I mean, I think they're like town guards. They could be literally anywhere.
So, yeah, are you heading to the Prancing Pony, or are you heading to the Reeves
How far of a
Hall?
detour is the Prancing Pony?
Oh,
So I've moved your token to the Inn of the Prancing Pony now.
Oh, perfect. So we'll stop by there real quick.
Yeah,
Guys,
and the Reeves Hall is literally
Mm-hmm. Oh, perfect.
just down the way.
I forgot we were supposed to go to the Reeves.
Yeah.
We're on a different mission now. So
Well, it was
Maracar,
never about bringing it in. It was just showing those guys up.
Maracar would look to Damrod and he would say, so who is this Mr. Reeve? Is he like the mayor or the town leader?
Damrod would know. It's basically the mayor. He not only runs Bree, but sort of runs the other villages as well. Because Bree is the chief village of Breeland.
Mm-hmm.
It de facto means that he is in charge of all of Breeland.
Damrod just relays that to Maracar.
And Maracar would say, so there's more towns like this, like close.
I don't know if close is the word for it.
Yeah, what Damrod would know is that effectively this is the largest settlement, but there are 3 other smaller settlements situated around the hill. The hill's pretty big.
Mm-hmm.
So there's Coombe, there's Atchett, and then there's Staddle, which is a little bit further around. You probably saw the lights of that one on the way in when you first arrived. Damrod, give me a history.
11.
11. You know that there are a lot more hobbits live in Staddle. You know that Atchett is in a more forested area to the north, and that Coombe's in the end of the valley, sort of thing. Again, further around to the west side on the north of the hill. Smaller villages, smaller settlements. Bree being the largest.
I'm just kind of probably in the same sense that Damrod did before when Maracar asked about like his homeland and stuff with a reverence, but a lower reverence than there was when he was kind of given his people's history.
Mm-hmm.
He's just reciting all of this to Maracar.
Gotcha. Maracar would be quiet about it. He'd just kind of nod his head. You may get the sense that he's trying to kind of keep his mind grounded in what's going on, so he's not kind of real in his head as much.
Aurelian,
It's too empty in there.
give me a history.
Okay.
Okay.
She don't know shit.
Mm-mm.
Not yet, anyway.
Not yet. Hopefully soon.
Well, there you go. Just read more books.
That's what I plan to do.
Maybe Aurelian would say there's been like scattered human settlements across like the land ever since the elves first arrived at the start of the Second Age.
You know what? I will say that.
Yeah. But they were very tribal until the Dunedain came and settled the lands.
Well, good to know. So we stop by the Prancing Pony, or we going straight to Reevy?
I mean, it's on the way.
Yeah,
yeah,
pop in
the
real
loud
quick.
mouths in there need to see this thing.
Maybe they'll take their patrols a little bit more seriously.
You,
Or
as
probably
you are standing in front of the pond. Go on.
we're very likely about to change their world.
Well, good. They deserve to have it changed.
Oh, well, as long as it's good.
Yeah, as you standing outside the pony, just pausing for a sec to just talk about these few things. You do see maybe 5 spear wielding watchmen, wardens start like frantically sort of run down the street from the reeves, the direction of the reeves. You see 4 like kettle helms, cloaks and with a hood on,
They're all
a
geared
spear.
up.
That as uniform is their sort of equipment, their size and their stature, and how they are wearing their uniform is rather left to be desired. If you're looking at it from probably an elven point of view, or even Damrod's point of view. One of them, however, as maybe trailing behind, is the only one that's wearing maybe a chain, a corselet of mail, a small chain shirt, as such, and has got like a feather coming from his helm, and he's actually carrying a sword, an actual sword, and he's like jogging behind the 4 jogging behind the 4 spearmen as they're sort of making their way to you. As they get there, they kind of pull up short of you, and without like pointing spears at you or anything like that, the man that has the sword on his hip sort of steps through the 2 of them. Hey, now, we just had someone come up here saying that the strange folk from before have come carrying a giant head.
Wow, word travels
I
fast.
see that's true.
Yeah, word travels fast in such a big town.
It does. It does.
But yeah, here's the head.
Here's your proof.
I think you should. I think you should come with us and come see the reef. Maybe tell your tale to the reef first.
Funny enough, that was actually where we were planning to head.
Well, good then. Good. Right this way.
Do you mind helping me carry it? And Maracar like kind of offers it to him. No? Oh.
Yeah, his back. He's got back issues, and it would be really great of you as town guards to carry this for him. We did the work.
Considering we've come
it.
such a long way carrying it.
It's been a long way.
No,
I do not have back issues. My back is strong as hell.
Just throws his arms up like, well, I tried.
Yeah, Maracar
I'm not
actually
carrying
goes to like carry the whole damn head on him. He's like, I do not have back issues.
Wow, such a wonder that this outsider
Oh, wow.
is more brave and strong than the town guards. All of them, really.
I am brave and
How many are
strong.
here right now?
We're not carrying that thing. You brought it in. You can bring it up.
But you were the one who didn't believe us. So this would be like a trophy that you could bring to the reef.
We none of us are touching that thing. No. That's your doing.
I tried.
Yeah, you don't want to catch the trophies.
Coming on.
Yeah. It's nasty disease.
You see two of them, two of the spear, like the guys holding the spears. Right, one of them kind of leaves up. Is that a thing? And you see like they share a little glance, and they take like a step back further away.
I get right up to him, like all up in the grill, saying, "You want to keep the spears close? There's more on the way." And just kind of,
Well, we don't know that. We only found the one.
Maracar, shut the fuck. He's spoiling my plans.
And I feel like it's such like a child whenever you're like stopped by the police, like, oh, we're just going over here. No, we're not.
No, we're not. We were doing drugs.
Damrod, give me a traditions.
13.
Yeah, that's probably enough. You pretty much know that the Breeland Watchmen, the wardens of Breeland, it's basically like a term of service for a lot of them, and they get their turn where they basically get given this large pointy stick, and they get to wear a helmet, and they get like this, this padded armor, and they get to be sort of important. They don't get to do much, but you just know that as for actual martial training, they the only thing that sets them apart from the average Breelander is that they are given permission to to carry a big pointy stick, have a helmet on, sometimes, and wear this sort of padded tunic.
So what I hear you're saying is we're just bullying draftees.
Yeah.
Actually, just a bunch of 18-year-olds. They
Mhm.
don't really know what's going on.
They're like, we just wanted our college paid for, man.
They call it's their stick of importance, as it were.
Oh, very much so. Yeah, they have like a truncheon, and a dagger, but that's pretty much it that they carry with them.
Probably scared of the dagger.
Nimrod at some point, probably as things head to where we're all heading towards where they're taking us, he's gonna kind of look at the party, the fellowship, and he's kind of lowered his voice a bit, but the others may hear him because he's trying to say this loud enough to where everybody with him can hear him. Don't give the town guard too much flack. They're not particularly well trained. They're not prepared to deal with things like this.
Oof.
Well,
They
then
should
perhaps
be. Yes, they should be. Which is why we've done this. And he kind of like nods towards Maracar holding the troll head. They shouldn't live in ignorance. But as of now, they aren't very well trained. And he almost looks sad when he says this.
Yeah, again, like the people of Bree are sort of allowed to live in this peaceful ignorance because of the work that the Rangers actually do. Orcs and wargs and the evil men of Rudar, trolls, winter wolves. They sort of haven't managed to penetrate this far into a riot door because the Rangers do what they do. They protect those that are left of the old kingdom, and that allows the people of Bree to sort of live in this peaceful ignorance as such.
Yeah, I don't think that. I think that Damrod is okay with the Rangers like keeping them in that safety, but I don't think that he's quite okay with knowing that like this town has no defenses if something were to happen where the Rangers weren't able to keep that safety. So that's kind of the reason for the sadness on his face when he's saying this.
Oh yeah, definitely. If it wasn't for the Rangers, this place wouldn't stand a chance. However, perhaps if they had more sort of external threats of such, and they were forced to have to sort of train a little bit more, then maybe they would be able to sort of stand up for themselves a little bit more and would have some sort of martial prowess. But yeah, but again, it's because of the Rangers that they almost don't have to. Um, so the wardens begin to turn and sort of escort you, glancing over their shoulder, to just make sure that you are keeping up, and they escort you to the Reeves Hall. There are two more of these wardens standing outside the Reeves door, almost expecting you guys to turn up. And one of them bangs on the door and opens it, um, and tries to stand as far as away from you guys as they can, especially as Maracar's carrying this large troll head. As you enter, you see the hall is. You've seen Maracar long halls. Even Damrod, you have in the angle where your people have your secret refuges. Um, you have these long halls, these buildings that are central gathering places. Um, it if it's called a hall, it's nothing like Maracar has seen. It has strong wooden pillars, but it's a brick house. Um, and it has a half off to the one side, um, and it has just tables arranged in a T form, in a T shape. Um, there's no like dais or anything like that. Um, and pacing at the end of the hall, slowly, is an elderly gentleman wearing a chain around his neck. It looks like a gold chain, and he's sort of pacing, and he's slowly walking backwards and forwards. And just standing off to the side is a younger man. Both are wearing sort of finer clothes than you've probably seen the average Breelander so far.
Are they doing? What are they doing right now?
It looks like the younger one is writing and looking up and writing as he's watching the older man pace. He's got his hands behind his back, and it looks like he's dictating something to the younger man. Um, the the guy with the feather in his helm and sword sort of walks in ahead of you and says, Reaver, Reaver, we have brought them. They're here. The old man stops and turns. Well, show them in. Come. What sort of things have you been stirring in my town?
I will just do a grand gesture towards Maracar and this big stupid troll head.
This elderly gentleman. He's got snowy white hair. Walks with a slight bend in his spine. Probably has a cane as well, and he's getting on in age. And he looks up and goes, "Holy hell! Is that a monster?"
It'd be a troll.
And he sort of gives a frown towards you, Damrod. Troll. Here in Bree. Where the bloody hell did you get that from?
Technically, it was outside of Bree.
Well, it's in Bree now.
Yes,
Part of it.
Like that one said.
It was in the graveyard.
The graveyard. What the bloody hell was it doing there?
Feeding.
Digging up bodies and eating them.
Was that the thing that's been digging up the bodies then?
Digging up the bodies and eating them.
Bloody hell.
I mean, I guess technically speaking, we didn't witness the troll digging up the bodies and eating them, but
No, but we saw the aftermath and the
It's pretty
bodies that were
obvious.
surely in the graveyard.
And Thomathias, or whatever his name is, I think saw it, maybe.
Tom.
Timothy.
Oh, yeah. Wait, is it? Yeah, it's Tom.
I heard the rumors that he came back blabbering something about a ghost, a huge ghost of some sort, but I think it was that.
Well, he's a ghost now.
Said he's massive.
And
you can see that
Maracar would
the,
say he was bigger than this. Holding up the head.
You see the sort of younger gentleman walk towards the older man and sort of walk past, and his back is a lot straighter. He's got some parchment in hand with a quill and ink. Dips it in and he's writing. And what are your names? For our records.
Hi, I'm Maracar.
An unusual name. But very well.
Guilford Godfrey.
Hey, I
That-
knew
that
a
was my
Guilford
name.
once.
And I will kind of just nudge Rook, don't give them your elven name.
Okay.
Leon
Hey,
Tigan at your service.
How go on, Rook. How do you introduce yourself?
Leon Tigan. It's an old character from something I made 15 years ago.
Unusual names as well. How about giving me deception rolls?
Damn it.
Y'all had to know this was coming.
Yeah. When I wrote it
should've
down, it was
known.
funny. Come on, Rook, carry us.
Can I inspiration that?
You can.
I've only got
You
two.
haven't rolled yet, have you?
Yeah, he rolled for the GM.
Oh, gotcha.
Oh,
He got a 9 and a 6.
how do I switch that? Okay.
At the top of the page, you'll see a toggle button for GM public.
Public, got it. Deception, here we go again.
Okay. Very unusual names they are. And what be your business here in Bree, may we ask? And this is the younger man that's sort of taken over the conversation.
Maracar, this
Damrod's
might
just
be...
looking towards Aurelion and Rook.
Well, and Aurelian, having gotten what he needs, is just going to step up. Maracar, this might be an apt situation to mention who you're looking for.
And Maracar, looking uncomfortable because he knows you're lying. He almost got fooled by that deception check, but he knows you guys are lying about his name, about your name, so he was kind of lost a little bit there. But he says, "Well, sir, I'm actually looking for someone. A good friend of mine from the village I came from, past the mountains to the west. Um, do you have a record of everyone who's been around town?"
I have we have records of most things here.
Did you ever come across
Who
a
is it that
woman?
you're looking for?
Her name is Nyla.
Nyla.
Yeah, he would say, her name is Nyla, and he would describe her. Probably, I don't know, are the people of my area usually like blonde and Scandinavian looking?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so he,
Some might have darker hair occasionally, sort of thing, but
I thought you were going to tell him about how she feeds chipmunks or whatever you described before.
no, because you can't really tell how someone looks by their chickmunk feeding capabilities. Unless it's like Snow White or something, then it's like obviously she feeds chickmunks. But yeah, he would go through and describe her, blonde hair, maybe up to his shoulders, probably blue eyes. She's not from around here as well. She traveled this way. What's it, Kevin? Couple weeks ago.
it was probably no. She probably travelled here probably 9 months ago, something like that. She left you 9 months ago. Effectively,
Okay.
what happened was she left. You sort of moped around for a little bit.
Right.
Winter hit, and you can't travel
Mhm.
during winter. And then winter went by, and come
Mm.
spring, it was sort of like you had enough.
Gotcha.
I'm setting off. So
Mhm.
it's sort of probably late spring at this moment
Yeah.
in time. Yeah. So it was probably something like last summer or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she traveled here almost half a year ago.
And what business did this friend of yours have?
Truth be told, I don't know, but I am concerned for her, and I need to find her. And then he pulls out the rabbit, and he says, "She's been here. This is hers. We found it when we were dealing with your troll problem." Then you
You
would
can
see
see him
that
sort of thinking and mulling things over. Okay. Carry on.
I was gonna say, and as he's saying this, you would notice that Maracar is getting like real fidgety and trying to like calm his breath down, and he's like, just like fidgeting with the little rabbit thing as he's saying it.
Again, you can still see him pondering something, looking down at his paper as if the answer's there on his paper. And he looks back up at you. No, sorry, can't help you with that. We've not had any visitors of that description. We've had some outsiders from down south, but they're mostly darker haired, not looking like yourself or as you described her.
And I just looked at chat. He would just kind of nod his head, and he would look over to the party and say, "Well, I'm done here," and he'd walk out.
What does he mean by done here?
Maracar, and I will chase after him.
Damrod's probably going to grab your arm and kind of like try to calm you without letting you walk out right away. Like whisper in your ear, it's not appropriate just to leave, Maracar. Not yet.
And he'd hesitantly turn around and stay, but he's a little upset.
Because one person
And what
hasn't seen
is
her?
the business of? Go on.
Sorry, I was
What
just
did you say,
saying, you're just giving up because one person here hasn't seen her?
No, there's an entire town of people who may have seen her. This man is no use to me. He's not helpful.
Yeah, I believe we came up with the idea that she was married off to a Breeland trader.
Yeah.
At the time, and the trader was from Bree that was passing through your lands. Sort of had spent the year sort of in the region. Appeared quite wealthy and stuff.
Gotcha.
Because you hadn't made your move.
Facts.
It was kind of because you hadn't made your move as such. Then her parents accepted the coin, the dowry, and they had a ceremony. They had a ceremony in your people's ways, and then they were going to have a ceremony when they got to Bree with his family. But yeah, that's sort of all you really knew.
Gotcha. Do I know his? I don't know his name or anything.
You would know his name if I had that extra time because of daylight savings. I would have had his name.
Daylight fucking up my D&D
Hold
game.
on. If I look up the man who invented daylight savings, can that be his name?
Oh, 100%.
Didn't you already look that up?
You did.
I forgot.
John Hubel.
George Hudson.
Yeah, that one.
It sounds like a very Middle Earth name.
George.
Yeah, it
well,
was
he could be like Georgiathy.
Georgius. It would have been George Appledore.
Okay, so if that's the case, he would say, have you seen George Appledore? Yes. George Time Saver. George ruined my fucking life. No, he would say, when was the last time you seen him? He should know where she is.
Oh, he's the son of the Appledores. They left
No shit.
a year or so ago. Said they were heading off over the mountains to see what trade they could find. To take some pipe weed and some cider, and they haven't come back. He and his whole group have never made it.
I appreciate you taking the time.
It's what you get for traveling over such long distances and going over the mountains. Best to stay in Bree, we used to say.
Maracar, he
Ain't
would
no
just
trouble
kind
in
of
Bree.
nod his head. There's no war in Bossing Say. Yeah, he just kind of nods his head and he says, "Thank you for your time. You have been a great help. Where would you like me to put the troll head?"
He turns to the Reeve, and the Reeve just, you need to get rid of that thing. Take it out to town, as far as town as you can go. Chuck it in the dike for us all I care.
And Maracar looks to the party and says, "Well, I have my answers questioned. I'm gonna go dike this head, and we'll meet up at the tavern later."
Sounds like a plan.
And he kind of gives Damrod kind of like a pat on his shoulder as he's walking away.
And the business of the other companions here. Gilbert, was it?
Yes,
And
Guildford.
Leon? Huh. And your business here in Bree?
We're just staying a moment. We have gotten some answers that we were looking for, and now we just need a moment to recoup, and then we should be out of your hair.
Very well. No need to explain what a ranger is doing here. Sticking their nose in business. It's not needed around town. Very well. You can leave if you wish.
If I hadn't stuck my nose in, you might have a troll knocking at your gates at the moment. And Damrod will turn on his heel and follow Maracar.
The young man who was actually the one that said those things and dismissed you would sort of catch himself and turn to the Reeve, and the Reeve would say, yes, you can go. Bloody hell. A troll.
I will head out with Damrod.
Yeah.
Walk out.
And I'll turn to Rook and Damrod. Well, so much for them being considerate and appreciative that we got rid of that troll for them.
Not even a thank you.
Not even a thank you.
Damrod's gonna slow his pace until Rook and Aurelion get like right up close to him, and he's gonna kind of match their pace and glance around to see if anyone's close and whisper to the both of them, specifically looking at Aurelion. If the two of you are trying to hide your identities, using the name of a famous bard is probably not a good idea.
It's a common name. It's more common than Leon.
Leon.
I just glare at Aurelion. What's wrong with my name?
Have you ever met anyone named Leon?
No, and see, that's why it's unique.
For a human, because they're known for their uniqueness. Look at this one, and I'll point to Damrod. Plain as they come.
Oh yeah. I can see the plane, but I mean, it was good for on the spot. So
I didn't think I need to tell you beforehand to come up with a human name.
Nobody explained these rules to me.
So what should we do about Maracar?
I, for one, plan to help him.
I look at Aurelion and say, "Are we helping them?"
I don't know of what help I can be. I need to study this map a little bit. But in the meantime, you're welcome to do what you need. I would be more than appreciative Damrod, if you and Maracar were to help, as I know that your tracking skills and his brute strength can be of some service. But Maracar might be a little too tangled up in what he's doing right now to help us in our quest, and that is fine.
I would like to help both of you if I can. Seeing as my father has an interest in what you're doing. But I don't like to see Maracar lose the love of his life.
Of course.
To death.
And at this moment, you're not being asked to choose one or the other. You can help Maracar.
Oh, I plan to. I was merely stating that I would like to help you as well.
Well, that is much appreciated, I suppose.
The way this world seems to work, both tasks could be intertwined somewhere. So we've already discovered evidence of Maracar's love near where you discovered your map.
Yes, fate has a strange habit of intertwining itself. So perhaps this will just be one path in the same.
You approach the gate, and as you approach the gate, the same gatekeeper with your good old friend Harry Mugwort.
Oh, damn it.
Looks like Harry's about to change his watch and he's shaking his head. And you can see the other gate guard that let you in sort of nodding his head. And then he looks over and sees you come in. And they both look. And Mugwort's got this sort of scowl on his face. And he kind of turns and looks and goes, what the? As Maracar, give me a strength check.
I'm just picturing Maracar doing that shot put hop up to the wall and just shot putting
I was thinking
over the wall.
Volleyball spike.
No, the hammer throw is when it's the ball on the chain. You
you
spin
do
around
this.
a bunch of times and you toss the shot.
Yes.
Mr. Lore Master.
Yes.
May I use
Rage,
athletics?
yes.
Oh, yes.
There's never been a better use for rage.
I thought about raging because he's obviously upset.
That's why I was going to give you advantage anyway.
Okay, cool.
No, you cannot use athletics because it is just a straight strength check.
Can you use acrobatics?
All right, big money. Oh well, you don't want me using acrobatics. Big money. That's a 21 with advantage.
You walk up not to the gate because you don't want it to land on the
No. I don't. It's like because my thought process is Maracar doesn't know what a dike is.
Yeah.
So we probably just call it something different. But he's like, I don't know, dike. Whoosh.
Yeah. You walk up to. So there's like this little house on the side by the side of the gate. Which is where like the gatekeepers sort of just hang out while they're keeping watch. And you walk to the opposite side of that, where there's like this hedge privet. It's like 10 feet tall, and you just walk up and you just go like muscles bulging, veins like sticking out with all the rage that you have at this moment in time.
Probably screams too.
Yeah. And it soars over the edge and it disappears and you hear thump as it like hits the floor on the other side and rolls and tumbles away a little bit. And you all turn and look at the gate guards, the two of them, and they were sort of like, oh my god, it is a troll head. And then all of a sudden they see this test of strength by Maracar and they're like, as they watching it sail over. like that. And they're just speechless. What does Maracar do?
Give me 1 second. Maracar.
By the way,
Uh,
you should all be able to edit the handout for Bree and the Prancing Pony. You should be able to edit it. So anyone we would like to add onto it, such as George Appledore, with some details, you can do.
okay,
Um,
cool.
yeah.
But Maracar, he would be over by the wall, and he just like banging his fist on the wall, and then he only does it a couple times, and then he just stops, and he just kind of like puts his head on the wall and sulks a little bit because he doesn't think anyone's watching him.
What do the other three do?
I'm just kind of got my arms crossed again, and I'm smirking at Harry. Maracar, I'd give you some help right now, but I don't think that I could help, and this is more important.
No, Maracar needs a therapist.
I'm kind of standing there watching, like, okay.
Yeah, that was a pretty good strength feat. What Maracar just achieved. It was not going to be easy tossing that head over the edge because it was a pretty hefty head. I mean, you hit it once or twice with an axe, and it hurt, but it didn't do all that much damage.
Mm-hmm.
And you've carried it, and it's pretty dense. And the fact is, you've just sailed it over the hedge is pretty.
Yeah, and like Maracar is probably really fucking exhausted after all that shit too. So he's kind of tuckered out. He's a tuckered out little guy.
All right, partial crisis averted. I just got to fix the overlay to have roll 20 showing, but other than that, I think we're good to go. So let's get the thing rolling again. I think.
Yeah, the group decided after Maracar had a mini breakdown, I guess, after tossing the troll's head over the hedge into the dike. They began to make their way back towards the Prancing Pony. They are unmolested, but they get there, and as they walk in, they do see that a lot of they do see some a lot of patrons are in there, and they stop and turn, and they're like gawping at you all as you walk in. What would you all like to do?
I will walk past all of them, nose upturned, and just go to my room.
Okay.
Mine works room.
You're muted,
Rook,
Charlie.
you're muted.
I will invite Maracar and Gamrod to a stiff drink.
Damrod will accept. He's hurting, so he needs something before he goes to bed.
And Maracar would also partake.
Barleyman, who is sort of standing there looking at the room, looking at you guys walk in, and looks at the room again. And he's got like a tankard in his hand. He's got like a rag. And he sees you all approach. And he tucks his rag in and places the tankard down. And he says, "Oh, well, you have caused a bit of a storm around here, yeah, but What can I get you, good folk?
I say whatever these two want, and then I will have something that. What do you have that's you don't give to every other person? Do you have anything in the back? Anything special?
And he sort of again looks around the room, and people are beginning to sort of whisper and talk. And he leans in over the bar. Well, I've got some things. If you wish for some of that, is it true you cut a troll's head off?
I look over at Maracar.
Maracar is just kind of looking past the bar. He's not really engaging.
Yes, we did.
Oh, I guess that's good work then. Very well. And he reaches down underneath the bar, and you hear him sort of jiggle a lock of some sort. You hear some hinges, and you hear like some clanking of glass as he pulls out a bottle that is corked, and he uncorks it, twists the corkscrew in and pulls it out. It's got no label on. Oh, this is my finest stuff. This is. If you got coin, then you can have some, of course.
As a matter of fact. So what do I owe you?
Oh, this would be a silver piece.
I gave him 2 silver and said, for your trouble.
Each, of course, is the finest stuff, but this will pay for 2.
Oh. I give him 4 then.
Okay. Is it just two cups you're giving, or is it one for each of you?
I was going to take one to Aurelion, seeing as this is the best
Oh,
stuff.
okay. Yeah. He gets 4 small, I guess maybe pewter cups. That seems reasonable. And puts them down, and he fills them halfway up. Now, I got this stuff from the dwarves that come through from the Blue Mountains.
Oh, that's straight poison.
As the bartender is kind of like he finishes pouring and he goes to pull the bottle away, Maracar stops his hand and he says, "How much for the bottle?"
Oh, I guess 10, 15 silver. You've used 16.
And Maracar says, he pulls out his little coin purse and he's going through and he pulls out 14 silver and he says, "Will you take that?"
Let's roll.
It's going to be a long night.
He looks at you for a bit. He was going to say no and say sorry, but then he looks at you and there's something in your expression. He says, I'll take that. I'll take that. And he sort of pushes it towards you.
Well, Maracar, I was trying to pay for your drink, but since you're going to pay for the bottle.
And Maracar, he'd kind of drink his whole cup. He'd fill it up, and then he'd look over to Rook's glass, which I assume is already like maybe halfway gone by now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and he just like splash a splash in there, and he put down the bottle, and he says, "Oh, it's our bottle now."
I would fill my cup, get another cup, start walking over to the room, kicking the door. Brilliant! You gotta have this.
He would just get up and come open the door. What are you making such a racket for? Other people are trying to sleep.
Are you all heading to Aurelion's room then with Rook?
Are we gonna have a sleepover?
Maricar's at the bar.
Did you take the cup or the bottle?
No, I took 2 cups. One for me and one for Aurelion.
He doesn't drink. You know this.
Oh, well, right.
You still gotta try it.
Yeah, I know, but come on,
His
character from the Blue Mountains.
His character remit was to put a smile on Aurelion's face.
That's true. You know my status on drinking, it clouds the mind. And
it does cloud the mind, but maybe you need to cloud your mind against everything else that's going on around here for a while and have some fun instead of being all mopey. Oh, really?
I'm not all mopey all the time.
And be antisocial. No, you need to come down and have a good time with us and just let go for a while.
If I come downstairs but I do not drink, will you let this go for tonight?
Probably not, because you got to try one.
No. Look, you saw me drinking about 1,000 years ago and how bad it got.
That was 1,000 years ago.
You've grown so much since then.
It was literally 1,000 years ago.
We do not change that much as elves in 1,000 years. I do not trust that it's stuck or that it did not stick.
Hold on.
Rook is the kind of guy that the DARE program warned me about. Come on, it's just weed, man.
Like, no, weed is fine. It's the drinking that's bad.
I mean, statistically, yeah.
Do you have pipe weed?
I meant for Aurelion. Let me be specific.
Aurelion is okay with the pipe weed. That doesn't cloud the mind as much.
I pull the cut back and
your mind.
I pull the cut back. I'm like, well, I wonder if he's got some pipe weed down there. Yeah. Come on. Well, you don't have to drink this, but you have to come. Let's go.
All right. But you have to drop it for tonight. I know I'm not going to ask that you drop it forever because I know you won't, but for tonight.
He just keeps walking.
Rook, I did not hear a yes or a no, Rook.
Yes.
And I'll chase after him.
Okay, so effectively the bottle has, would have had 20 portions in.
Not after tonight.
Four was originally poured out. And then a 5th for Rook after he finished his first one. Maracar, Damrod, are you partaking in the drink?
I imagine he was poured a cup. We stayed behind at when this whole Aurelion and Rook thing was happening, right? Maracar stayed at the bar.
Yeah.
Damrod,
as soon as your cup is empty, Maracar tops you off.
He's probably not just downing the cups, but he is partaking. But he also probably would have tried to find a table to get Maracar away from the bar, and where we could kind of sit.
Good idea.
Yeah, there's a bar under a window, a table under a window with 4 chairs. It's in the far corner. Looks perfect for someone to sit there smoking with their feet on the table, with their hood over their, You direct him over that way. So Maracar, you smashed the first one, right?
Oh yeah.
What is your constitution score?
He's a hardy boy.
I think
his constitution score is 16.
3, right?
3 modifier.
Yeah, okay. So you got a +3. Okay. Damrod, I think you've got a +2 Constitution, haven't you? Yeah. So you, Maracar, you knock back the first one, and it's like drinking liquid fire.
Oof.
Like liquid
Oof.
fire. It burns
Straight from the forge.
It burns
From the
all
depths
the
of the
way
belly of
down
Smaug.
into your stomach.
I know this feeling.
Yeah, yeah. It is the hardest stuff you have ever tried, including any moonshine back home. And I imagine the Bjornings brew some strong moonshine.
Sure.
Aurelian, well, Rook, you drank your first one, and it is liquid fire to you, but you don't feel the effects. You're not feeling any sort of alcoholic effects from it
I get
Kevin,
up.
at this moment in time.
when you ask about Constitution, are we talking about just the modifier, or are we talking about
Yeah,
like
the
saving throw
modifier.
modifier?
No, the modifier just for Constitution.
Okay, yeah, it's a 2.
Yeah, +2. Okay.
I would probably get up and go to the bar and ask the bartender, like, do you have, by chance, any pipe weed back there? Because somebody I am with does not want.
Kevin, do I have pipe weed? I've got a pipe.
You tell me if you have pipe weed. Like
Weird to have a pipe without weed.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
Never mind. I retract my previous statement.
I'm happy for you guys to say with pipe weed, yes, I have some pipe weed.
Okay.
Obviously keep track of how much you've got, because it's not going to be like, how
Endless
much
supply.
you got. Yeah, Maracar.
You aren't growing it out of your face.
Yeah, Maracar maybe hasn't had any pipe weed.
No, I don't think he would have.
Yeah,
He's going to today.
It messes with his cardio.
Yeah, the area where you're from, like pipe weed hasn't really been grown. It's a Shire thing.
And gotcha. Yes, that makes sense.
It has expanded out over the last 80 years, but still, because trade between everywhere isn't super frequent, it's still a limited option with Bjornings. It's more so maybe the eldermen of the village, the higher ups, the more the wealthier Bjornings that might have it. Whereas for Damrod, it's probably pretty easily accessible for the Rangers over here if he wanted some.
They're back alley dealings.
He's like,
yeah, Rook probably
I got
not
all
so
the different strains of pipe weed.
Yeah, old Toby of the South Farthing is the most famous for being the best. Yeah, and Aurelian, you've probably had enough exposure to Rangers if you wanted to resource some, or maybe even Gandalf passing through Rivendell.
I will just go ahead and put some in my pipe, and I will try my best to use my pipe to create a smoke illusion of a Region.
Okay. Give me, because that's a skill check, isn't it?
Yeah, I've got the tool right here.
Yeah. Roll me the tool then. Using your maybe dexterity modifier.
Yeah, it's already on there.
Yeah, cool. Okay. You are able to create a tower.
No. I'll do Rivendell because you haven't seen Rivendell.
Yeah. You to create like Rivendell, it's going to need a pretty high DC check.
Okay, I'll do what I can do with this one.
Yeah, you managed to create the main hall and maybe like a thin tower of Rivendell, but that's you haven't got the time, or you haven't got the skill quite yet to create the whole of Rivendell to hold the smoke together long enough.
After I do this, I will offer my pipe to Maracar. Might help take a little bit of the edge off without getting completely lost like you would in that.
You would see Maracar, he's kind of like leaned back in his chair and he's looking out the window and he's just kind of like tapping on it. And he downs another drink, goes and pours.
What number drink is that?
Probably 3 at this point.
Okay.
Like, yeah. And then he'd kind of shake the bottle and say, "I'm good." And he drops the bottle down and he just keeps looking at the window and just kind of like tapping it and kind of like feeling the glass.
Damrod, how many drinks are you in?
How long's it been?
Well, Maracar's done 3.
So
Yeah,
it's been like 5 minutes.
He's drinking fast. Yeah, yeah, he's uncomfortably drinking fast at the moment.
He might be on his second, like barely into his second.
Again, it's like drinking liquid fire.
I'm at the tail end of my second.
Is Rook not even reacting to that?
I guess not. But I do know. I just checked my inventory. I do have. It says pipe with elven smoke. So.
What? Oh my gosh! I will give you some pipe weed to do something with that. What does that mean?
Yeah.
I break off a piece and just here.
Damrod's just kind of enjoying the drink. Has Damrod been to Rivendell? Would he know of Rivendell? Like, would he recognize it from the smoke signals?
I'm going to say he hasn't been to Rivendell. He definitely knows of Rivendell. And you would probably recognize it from descriptions you've heard. Like, your father's been to Rivendell. Aragorn's been to Rivendell, obviously. There's probably 1 or 2 other senior rangers that have been.
So he's not quite. I mean, he's not drunk yet after 1 glass of this, but he's probably a little more calm than he was, than he usually is, and especially with his injuries and stuff. He's just kind of sitting back, sipping this second glass. He's probably pulled his own pipe and is partaking a little bit, maybe just blowing smoke rings, but he's kind of sitting back in his chair. He's watching Maracar closely, but he's also in his mind, like you hear, the camera goes to Damrod and you hear Damrod's voice in his mind. They're trying to hide being elves, but Aurelion's blowing smoke that looks like Rivendell.
These people don't know what Rivendell looked like.
Look, I saw it in a book.
It could have easily been an ancient tower out in Rhyador somewhere. You lot seemed like distinguishing what Aurelion created with some fantasy fictional tower home out in the wilderness. To these are undiscernible. Sorry.
Yeah, and he won't. That's why he doesn't say anything about it. But he's just like that thought. That's it's one of those high thoughts kind of cross his mind.
So does Rook? Do you take a third? Damrod, do you take a third? Maracar, do you take a fourth?
Take a 4th drink. Yeah. He would take a 4th drink, and you would notice that that after this 4th drink, it hits the table a little harder than maybe even he realized. And then not necessarily sluggish, but it's kind of just like quick grasp.
Well,
dump,
let's if you take another drink which goes over your Constitution modifier.
Mm-hmm.
So 4 for you, 2 for the rest. So well, 4 for you, 3 for the other 2. Then make a Constitution saving throw.
Sure.
I don't
Rook,
think I would because it doesn't seem to
Oh.
have any kind of effect on me,
Ooh.
so I wouldn't even bother with the third.
Oh, no. You will make saves after the 4th one. So when you get to 5, Rook.
Then I'll have a third.
And Damrod
With
does
some
have a
of
third
my
as well.
weed.
Yeah, and Maracar is routinely as soon as you guys are like down to a quarter in your cup, he goes and tops you guys off.
I would break apart my elven smoked and handsome to Aurelion, lean over handsome to Damrod, offer some to Maracar.
Oh, you already, excuse me, you already have some pipe weed?
Mhm.
Okay, then I will take that one I gave you back.
So did you all roll your con save? Well, did Damrod roll the con save?
Yeah, and you got a nat 20.
No, Maracar got a nat
Maracar.
20.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's come
I
from
got an 18.
Yeah. You are both, keeping hold of your senses at the moment. Do you continue on to number 5 and number 4?
Maracar would. He would look over to the party and he would say, so what are you all going to be doing going forward? We're looking for or something. And then he'd drink maybe half of this 5th one, swirl it around a little bit at the end of the conversation. At the end of the thought of someone else, I'll probably finish it.
Well, I'll be studying this map until I can find a lead on where this treasure is.
I've got a scimitar that I want to see if I can get fixed. Hopefully there's somebody around here that can do that kind of thing.
I plan to help you, Maracar, but I also need to find a leather worker if possible. But that's secondary to what you're dealing with.
Normally I would join you, but in good conscience, I cannot leave Aurelion here by himself.
I'm not a child.
I understand that, but you need to be supervised.
I will take a big drag of my pipe and then blow it in your face.
Let's do it.
As Maracar fills Damrod's third glass, and Damrod starts to sip on it, he kind of smiles and looks at Rook. After the stories my father tells me of Aurelion, it might be wise not to leave him here alone.
See, I told you.
You know, Damrod, I think I much preferred you and your father's testicles, personally. And I will take another
You
drag.
knew me back then.
You prefer his father's testicles?
That's what I heard.
When he was in there. Goodness, guys.
That's not what you said.
Yes, it was. Don't gaslight me.
Don't gaslight me.
Nobody's gaslighting you. That's what you said.
All right, play it back. Play it back.
I can't guarantee that you said that, Ray, but I definitely heard what you meant to say, at least.
Thank you.
I didn't.
But Damrod's statement still stands that he just asks you knew me back then?
Well, I assume that you weren't born back then, so that works.
He wishes you were dead, Damrod. That's what he just said.
That's kind of the opposite of what I said.
Damrod puts his head down
better.
and he's like, "Yes, Rook, I know. Just wondered why he was suggesting my father's testicles."
Shut up.
That is
Aurelion is just
that is
burying his head in his
interesting, Damrod.
hands.
That's very interesting.
just burying his head in his hands, just like, oh my word.
Did he smile?
Are you sure you
No,
don't
he
want to
was
drink?
super embarrassed.
Damrod will slide that extra cup that's just kind of sitting there, like towards you. Are you sure you don't want to drink then?
No, I'm quite sure.
Maracar fills up the cup.
Y'all can ask him, but I can't. I sort of agreed
We have a
to
contract,
drop it.
and I will
But
slide it.
y'all can ask him.
So, at what point did Rook stop with the drinking?
I will
what
slide my
number?
cup to Rook that
Like-
Maracar just filled.
At the end of my third,
Okay, so you did 3. What about Damrod?
He's currently on his third.
Okay. Marakar's on 6.
Rook, there is now a glass in front of you that's full, because I gave you mine.
we'll look down at it.
If I'm
Maracar
counting-
kind of look around.
If I'm counting right, we're at what, 14 cups out of that bottle? You said
Uh,
there's
at a
20.
20.
I think that is 13 now. 6. You had 3, Rook had 3, and then Aurelion had 1.
Yeah, I'm on my third, so that's 9, 12, yeah, 13. Got it.
Maracar, he would ask you, Damrod, and he would say, what's so great about that piece of armor you have? Looks old, dingy.
Damrod gets this light in his eye, and he kind of takes a deep breath, and he's like, "Yes, I haven't told you all yet. This is a relic from my people. Something some of us haven't seen in a very long time."
Interesting. I don't suppose you can let me look at it a little bit when you have the moment.
You're welcome to if you want to go fetch it from my room.
When you have a moment, not at this exact moment.
I mean, we have a moment now, but it's in the room.
I'm not that curious that I would get up and leave. Especially with you all downing all these drinks. I think Brooke here might need some supervision.
I told you before.
I'm sure Maracar can
You do.
watch him.
I mean,
And-
Maracar,
Yeah,
you are
I got it.
feeling. Maracar is heavily feeling the effects, but you are
Yeah.
still well sort of in control of your sort of bodily functions at this moment in time.
Yeah, you'd see Maracar's face. He's getting like kind of like that red puffiness, and
you
you
for the
see
raid.
he's
Welcome,
almost
Raiders.
got like a scowl on his
Welcome in, Dane
face.
Shake.
But he doesn't even recognize it. And after this last drink, he kind of almost like tosses the cup back, not like full on toss, but just like lets it go before it hits the table, and just kind of stops there. And he's looking out the window for a few minutes before he refills it.
I lean into Aurelion, and I get real close to. It's just him. They can hear me. I'm like, you really need the sad drunk guy?
No. Maracar, you're looking worse every drink. Do you perhaps want to talk about it?
I don't need to talk about anything right now.
See,
Yeah. See.
I mean, I'll sit with him.
He would have said that like real snappy like.
Well, I'll sit with him, but I'm sitting across the table so I can see him.
Is anyone else actually getting rather worried about Maracar?
Yeah.
They've
I mean,
seen
yeah,
how
but I don't
angry,
want to make him mad.
how angry
You
he
saw
gets.
what he did to that head.
He's just
Yeah.
a
He
fucking.
launched it.
He's a bulldozer without a driver right now.
His emotional state is volatile at best.
Yes.
At best.
I will reach over and take the glass and just move it across the table. I think that's enough. I'm
you
very
do
gentle.
it.
Please don't hurt me.
Maracar, before you make this decision, you're gonna notice that Damrod has left his cup on the table and has stepped away towards towards the rooms.
You're
Just-
enabling him. Stop
just
it.
if that
Enabler!
just if that helps you
No.
keep from throwing an axe at Aurelion.
No, he would never throw an axe at Aurelion.
I'll lean in and grab the cup.
He would snatch the cup right the fuck back though.
Ooh.
He snatches the cup and he slams it right in front of him, and he grabs the bottle and he fills up another cup, and then he puts the bottle down. He says, "I'm fine. I know. I'll say when I'm done."
Or perhaps you should let someone who thinks a little bit more than you say when you're done. And I will grab it and pull it right back. You're done.
Oh, Ray, why do you do this to me?
Because it's funny.
I want to say a contested athletics. But,
Don't do that. I'll
yeah,
lose.
Maracar would
Okay.
not let you take it.
Okay, so Maracar, roll athletics. Aurelian, I will let you use sleight of hand.
Okay, what am I beating? Oh no, I'm not going to do it.
As you try and like snatch it before he gets a firm grip on it.
And
No.
Yeah, we
so
knew
yeah,
that.
Maracar, he'd get the cup and then he'd look at you and say, "Perhaps you have some armor to look at." And
this is
he'd
when-
probably take another drink.
This is when Damrod's like standing there with like holding this arm piece in his like against his chest, and like one part of it just kind of flops forward as he's standing.
He's like, "Oh, this is awkward."
Maracar, give me a strength check.
Once you do that, I've got to come back.
I am standing pretty close to Aurelion at this point.
Mm-hmm.
He may need some help.
Aurelion, you would probably notice that, like, I imagine the knuckles, like, as he's holding the cup like this, you can see, like, his knuckles are going white from the tension of, like, he's almost crushing the cup.
This is so stupid. But Aurelian will just like not even breaking eye contact. I don't sleep. I can look at that armor anytime I want. You have to sleep eventually. And I will kick him under the table. And when like he would like reach to grab it, I will grab the bottle back from him.
Let's get it on.
Give me a second here. Maracar
I'm
would
just standing wide-eyed looking
slam-
at him like, no.
Maracar would slam his hands on the table in an attempt to break it in half. And he would say, he wouldn't say anything. He would do that, and he would probably just walk away. He would walk he'd walk his ass right outside of the prancing pony.
Give me a strength check.
Big money, big money, big money. Don't make me look like a bitch. I have to use inspiration for that.
I mean,
I
you
mean-
gotta.
I will give you your advantage.
Okay.
So 19.
Are you still raging?
Yeah. Oh, he's
Oh,
yeah.
shit.
Actually, he probably would be raging. Not like statistical raging, but he's
Yay!
fuming.
You hit the table, and it's a round table, right? And the wood is cut, the grain and the wood is cut towards you, Maracar, and you hit it and you literally break it in half, and it snaps, and the legs like splay out. And
I imagine because I'm holding the bottle, that's the only thing keeping it from like falling and shattering.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
So he'd break the table. He'd probably like kick his chair too, like donkey kick it.
yeah,
And,
the whole
and-
room stops. Like, the Breelanders
Yeah.
are not very tall. You know, the tallest Breelander is probably going to reach 6 foot, and that's super tall, right? So you're like massive. You and Damrod are super tall for anyone in Breeland. And not only that, you're built like an ox.
Yeah.
So you're a scary dude. And Barleyman is kind of sort of like looking petrified by the bar.
Way wrong.
Hello.
Hey, he's back. Yeah, so he'd storm out and like just full aggressive. He's kicking the chair, he's moving shit out of his way, he's tossing open the door, and then he's just gonna go for a walk, is what he's doing. He's just walking around. I don't know if it's nighttime or not, but
yeah, we'll say the sun is definitely set. The stars are out. Not many people on the streets. I'm gonna say it begins to rain heavily again.
naturally, it's perfect.
Yeah.
It's not raining until you walk outside. But it pours.
Yeah. Damrod, did you actually bring the armor down?
Yeah, he's standing there like, clutching it like against his chest
So it doesn't fall
while this
apart.
is happening. Like, I imagine like the piece that kind of like goes over your wrist is in the air, and it's kind of creaked at some awkward point during this, and kind of folded down, and then Maracar breaks the table and it storms out.
Maracar, nobody gets in Maracar's way, and in fact, the people in the room, they're sort of looking around, side eyeing at each other, and they are like finishing their drinks. And they're getting up and they are leaving the room. Barleyman sort of shuffles out from behind the bar, and he walks over to you, and he goes, and he's like wringing his hands a little bit, and he goes, "Well, perhaps it wasn't such a good idea to let him have it."
Clearly, and I'll hold it up and hand it back to him.
Don't worry about the table. Don't worry about it. Don't worry.
I follow him. Or...
Charlie, you're super quiet.
How about now?
No.
Still pretty quiet.
Maybe it's not picking up your mic rather than like your headset.
Yeah, he's having trouble with that before.
Give me a second. I'll see if I can fix it.
Yeah. Yeah, so Damrod has brought down the armor as you are seeing people evacuate from the common room.
Damrod, could you perhaps go rein him in?
What happened?
What do you think happened?
You probably insulted him. You are holding his bottle, after all.
For once, I did not insult him. I just suggested he stop drinking because clearly it was getting to his head. And I will
probably thought that you were replaced by someone then. That's very out of character.
I don't think that was what was going through his head, because nothing really goes through his head, and this just gave him
Okay, you are Aurelion.
This just gave him extra room in that big cavernous head for those few thoughts to bump around, man.
Damrod kind of like looks down at this piece of armor he's holding, and looks back up at Aurelion, looks over at the door, back down, and you haven't had any drinks, right?
Are you asking me that?
Yes.
I shake my head no.
How's this?
I'm trusting you with this piece of armor. You said you wanted to examine it. And he's being quite stern.
So, you know that like Aurelion doesn't take you guys that seriously, but he actually will like tuck up his shirt a little bit and then take it from you, like being extra careful, because he does know about artifacts and he's being very careful not to ruin this.
It's like you can tell that it's not necessarily that Damrod doesn't trust you. It's more that he's like loath to leave this with someone else, period.
Oh yeah, no, he's not doing that because he thinks that Damrod doesn't trust him. He's doing it because he has respect for artifacts.
Yeah, I'm just kind of stating that so that you know. Like, it's not that Damrod doesn't trust you. He's just not. He's not particularly okay with leaving it out of his sight now that he's found it, but he also doesn't think it's okay to be carrying it around while he goes and tries to find Maracar. So I'm gonna trust this to you, Aurelion, and he's gonna kind of like hand it over to you, and I'll see what I can do with Maracar.
And I will go back to my room, but I will turn to Rook. Very fun night. I'm glad you invited me out. And then go right back to the room.
Almost getting in a fight.
Still super quiet.
Yeah, I heard fight. Yeah. Do like smoke signals, wave flags to tell us what you're trying to say.
Yeah, that'll work out.
Yeah, Charlie, it might literally be. I mean, we could hear you just about. It might literally be that your source of like audio input has changed or something like that. So it's picking up your computer rather than your headset or something like that. Maybe.
How's this?
A little better.
I've got you maxed out, and you're still pretty quiet.
I don't know.
Someone's asked if you have a dB boost option.
I don't know what that is.
Can you shout?
I don't know what that is.
Now we can hear you.
Hey, you sound
Just
normal.
Just leave it at that.
I'm trying to figure out why this is not working.
You might need to back out and come back in, or just refresh the page or something.
Maybe.
Yeah, try turning it off and not back on again.
So was Damrod heading out after Maracar?
Yes.
Okay. Damrod, you give Aurelion the armor piece. You head to the doorway quickly. Give me a perception check.
Double 13s.
Maracar, what is 10 plus your stealth modifier?
So
your
10 plus my stealth modifier. That is a 12.
Okay. Does Maracar go left or does he go? So does he go to the west? No, to the east, or does he go south? So it's like straight ahead, or does he go left?
He would go to the east.
Yeah, the way that you came in originally, then.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Damrod, you would see just through the rain, Maracar storming off, pacing off that way. Towards the east.
I'll go after him.
Okay.
Maracar.
I need to walk.
We can walk.
I need to walk.
Are you all right?
Just need to walk. I appreciate you coming out, Damrod. Please leave.
All right. Just please be careful.
And Maracar, he would take his hand axe that he keeps on him, and he would just toss it over to you. Not like throw it at you, but he would just toss it over at you. And he would raise his hands and say, "Not too much trouble."
I'm more worried about you being hurt yourself. Just, if you're going unarmed, don't leave the gates.
It's like Maracar's like, not too much trouble. That's because I've just taken the subclass that lets me deal damage with my fists.
You got the tavern brawler.
Yeah.
He's throwing his axe down in the mud, but he literally just broke a table in half with his hands.
Yeah.
And these Breelanders probably have a lower AC than a table.
Damrod will come and pick your axe up out of the mud and kind of dust it off a bit. Like he can't clean it fully here because it's still raining and it's muddy. His hands are a bit muddy himself. You know the scene from Lord of the Rings when they go into Bree, how muddy it is. It's kind of like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember that.
He's showing. Is this like a mundane hand axe? Is it just basics or?
Yeah, super basic. Yeah, just stick and metal piece.
He's showing a reverence to it though that is, and a respect to it that is probably not deserved for just a mundane basic piece. Kind of like Aragorn in the movie when he grabs that kid's sword and swings it around. You know that scene, Nate.
Yeah.
And
yeah, Argonin.
He takes it with him to kind of clean it as he kind of leaves you alone.
You'd probably notice that it's a well used, it's a well worn. You know, it's seen a life.
It's a utility tool, really.
Yeah, that's it. You know, you know, this might have been like his grandfather's or something. You know, you can see where the haft of the hand axe is maybe even smooth, where like people have just held it and worn it. Yeah, so you can see that it's got a story to it. It might not be anything special in regards to material or like any sort of particular design, but it's got a history to it. It's got a gravity to it. Oh, I hear crackling. No.
Good. No.
Charlie. So Maracar, you go for a walk. Damrod, you are revering the hand axe. Aurelian, you have the armor piece. You and Rook, do you go back to your rooms?
Yeah.
I plug this in backwards.
We can hear you, Charlie.
We can hear you now.
He's barely. I think he said he's going back to the room backwards.
No, he said
he plugged it in backwards.
Oh, that too.
Goodness.
Aurelian, you uncover the armor piece.
Say something, Charlie.
How about now?
1 second. I'm trying something here. Try again.
How about now?
Go into open your video ninja window. Do you see a request to change your mic?
Oh yeah,
I already accepted it.
Okay. Try it again.
Testing.
Nope, it's not working.
Every time you test it gets worse.
I can change your mic from here. That's what I'm trying to do to see if it was a different mic setup, but it doesn't appear to be working.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on.
I can hear you. We haven't got much left to cover, so we can get through this, Charlie. All right. Aurelian, you uncover the armor piece, and you can see that it's still quite grimy. It's barely held together. Half, like, some of the pieces are actually separated from other pieces. The leather is almost completely worn away and gone. Give me an investigation check. Okay, and give me a law check. Okay, you can tell that some of the metal in the plating that's attached to the leather is not normal steel. It's suspected that you probably suspect that it's a different sort of metal, potentially mithril.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Yeah, but it's only sort of certain parts of the metal. You know, like the core of the metal itself is mithril, not all of the metal itself. So it's like the mithril's been worked into bits of the steel to reinforce the steel. If it is mithril, you don't know. Give me a. Let's try that history.
Okay. Where is it? So I gotta up it.
Yeah, you. Long ago, the last alliance started in Eriador with Gil-galad, the High King of the Elves, marching from Lindon and meeting his friend Elendil, the king of all the Dunedain, at Weathertop. The soldiers closest to Elendil, the Royal Guard, you think you remember them wearing something similar to this? So yeah, it might have been slightly different back then, but they definitely wore this sort of singular sleeve on one of their arms, to protect their one arms, the ones that were closest to Elendil, like his personal bodyguard. And Elendil definitely visited Rivendell on his way, and these would have been the guards that would have accompanied him.
So, Rook, you would absolutely see that Aurelian is having way more fun poking at this thing than the entirety of that night that we just spent out drinking. And he's probably just chattering like, "Yeah, this was worn by the bodyguards of Elendil back in on Weathertop," that kind of stuff.
I would just stare at you blankly, like, okay.
We could hear you pretty good that time.
Oh, you got me now?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot better.
Yay!
It's still
Yeah, there we go.
it's still quieter than usual, but it's a lot better.
Yeah. Yeah, we can
Yeah.
hear you.
Yay, I fixed it, sort of.
Yeah,
Now
that's
you can
good.
tell us what Rook's doing.
I just like stared at blankly, like, okay, like, is that important?
Of course it was important. They were the bodyguards of Elendil. Who knows how important it is? And this part right here, this is probably mithril.
Mithril. I've heard of mithril.
And this isn't like a new thing. He's always been like super interested in stuff like this.
Seeing that Aurelian is really interested, like, what else can you tell me about it?
I'll just chatter on about everything that Kevin just told me.
Fascinating.
Yeah, so you, Aurelian, you probably get a clearer sense as to maybe Damrod's reverence for this thing, because this is something of deep history. Like this piece of armor might have come, or these certain types of armor might have come all the way from Numenor in the first place.
Ooh, no.
Does Damrod return?
Nope, it's mine now.
Yeah, he's probably he probably stands outside for a few minutes, just kind of watching Maracar walk away.
Yeah.
Kind of holding this axe. But after a couple minutes, he's not going to just stay standing out of the rain. He'll turn and head back in.
Right. Yeah. Where does he go to? Does he just head into the bar? Does he head to his room? Does he go to find Aurelian?
He's probably gonna try to find some type of maybe a water barrel or something with some water so that he can clean some of the mud off of this axe, since Maracar so carelessly just threw it in a puddle of mud.
Yeah.
And then once that's done, he's definitely looking for Aurelion to get his sleeve back.
Yeah,
Um,
you can do both.
Once you come back to our room, Aurelian would just start pointing out all the stuff that he's been telling Rook and what Kevin has told me, which you'll have to listen back to the VOD to hear all that because I don't remember exactly everything.
Oh, will I? I have a wireless headset. I heard it all, Ray.
Oh, nice.
Say I
Yeah,
remember
so
it all. I can't say I remember it all, but I heard it all.
Yeah, so effectively, these sleeves were worn by Elendil, the Tall, the High King of the Dunedain. You know, the bodyguard that followed the king around, they wore these, and potentially they would have come from Numenor before its downfall, and that there are like elements of mithril worked alongside the steel.
I knew it was special, and I knew it was going to be important, but I don't know. Didn't realize how special and important this was. Thank you. And he kind of takes it back from you, and he's looking at it with even more reverence than he had before. Now I really must restore this.
I would love to look at it whenever it's restored. I imagine you'll be wearing it, but you know what I mean.
Maracar, where'd you walk to?
So I've been thinking. I think he's just kind of he's just gonna do a lap. So he'd kind of keep going along, and then that turn, like if you're gonna go north, kind of up the hill.
Can you move the token itself?
Oh yeah, I can.
You might be able to move the token.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, so he's gonna come along here, and then he's gonna take a left here, and just kind of walk around this loop, going. Oh, I guess straight down this way until he gets back to the tavern. I don't know how long that's gonna take, but it'll give him some time to kind of cool down. Hopefully,
Maybe
not run into
throws a stone into the darkness.
Yeah, like he's kind of just in his feels right now, trying to he's trying to calm down, and two, he's just kind of going through the night. He's probably talking to himself, like this is why I don't drink and all kinds of stuff like that. Yeah, so he's just kind of doing that lap. He might even do it twice. I don't know.
Yeah,
depends on how long it takes.
Okay. With that, once Maracar returns, does he go to his room?
Okay, so he comes back into the tavern, and if the barkeep guy is there, he would walk up to the barkeep and he would give him 7 silver and say, I apologize for my outburst tonight. Here, please take this. And I'm sorry about the table.
I think what happens is like you walk in, and it's one of them ones where it's like you stand in the doorway and you're imposing and you're still in the doorway and there's like a flash of lightning behind you, and it's like sort of thing, and you walk in up to the counter and he's like
slow and somber.
And he's quite like this, and then he sees the expression on your face and you start talking and you put the silver down, and while your hand's still on the silver, he just reaches over and puts his hand on top of yours and shakes his head and says, no, we all have our troubles, I guess. I can see that yours are deep rooted, lad.
Oof.
Perhaps you can help me another way another time. I mean, you're a big strong lad, and I need a new table fixing. If you know how to.
And Maracar shakes his head and he says, "Yeah, I mean, I can probably make a decent enough table. Got a knack for woodworking, oddly enough." Um, and he says, "Before I leave town, I will be sure to make that right."
And he pulls out from underneath a tankard which is full of water. Drink this, lad.
And yeah, when he pulls out the tankard, Maracar goes to say no, and then he realizes it's water, and he says,
Yeah.
Thank you for your hospitality." And he'd pull back his silver, but he would actually leave 2 silver on the bar, and then he'd
Yeah.
walk away.
Yeah.
Sewers down.
And then what's it? Aurelion and Rook are in one room, and then
Yeah.
Damrod and I are in the other.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Maracar is just going to go to his room. And when he comes in, he'll look to Damrod if he's there. Is Damrod in the room, or is he over playing with the armor over in the elves' room?
I would imagine he's probably back by this time. If you
Sure.
took a couple laps around the town.
Yeah, probably. And so Maracar would come in if you're awake. Yeah. If he's sleeping, he wouldn't bother you. But if you're awake, he'd say, "Damrod, I appreciate you coming to talk to me. I just needed some time. And of course, I apologize for my emotional outburst. There's a lot that happened in the past few days. Either way, thank you. I appreciate it." And he'd sip from his tankard and say, "It's water." The barkeep gave it to me.
Damrod kind of chuckles and he looks to you and says, "Love can make us all a bit crazy at times. It's understandable after what you've been through. I hope that the walk helped you clear your mind. And I hope that when the time comes for you to search for her, you'll allow me to help you. In the meantime," and he like pilfers this axe to you, kind of holds it back up. I've cleaned this, as well as sharpened it for you. Although you do take good care of your tools, Maracar. It didn't need much. Just kind of took the chips out of it that it received over the last few days."
Yeah, he kind of takes it and smiles, and he sits down on his bed, and he's just kind of like looking at it, and he probably chuckles a little bit, and he says, my father would have kicked my ass if I threw this hatchet down like that. It's my grandfather's hatchet. Yeah, it's been in the family for a long time. Great tool. Keeps an edge, hard, useful. And he puts it down, and then from underneath his shirt, he takes out a dagger, and then he takes out another hatchet that he has and kind of puts it on the table, and kicks off his boots, and there's another dagger in there, and he says, "Are elves always this trying?"
Aurelion is.
Well,
Even, and Damrod kind of chuckles again. My father even used to tell me stories of how he used to try him.
I'll be sure not to take it personally then.
You shouldn't. I I think Aurelion means well. Just
Sure.
elves live a lot longer than us, and I think that might make them a bit cynical as well.
Well, did you find anything out about your armor piece?
Oh yes, so much, and he just launches into this
Mm-hmm.
explanation
About
of what
halfway through,
Aurelion told him.
Maracar's asleep.
I was about to say, yeah, Marikar's like lying like this and goes, "Yeah, tell me about it." And
He's like, "I need
he
some
starts
sleep.
dozing off.
I need some
It's
sleep
like
aid."
it's like a sound machine.
It's
And
a
Damron
Z12.
does not notice at all.
He puts on a little nightcap and blows out a candle and starts going.
We
And
shift
he
over
goes,
to the elven room.
What was that?
We shift over to the room with the elves in.
So at some point during the night, you probably would look over, and Aurelian is just laying on the bed underneath the covers with his arms like crossed over his chest.
At what point did you think it would be okay to poke the bear, as it were, in a very upset Maracar? Why did you think that was going to be a good idea, Aurelian?
Because I knew he was going to get worse.
And if he punched you in the head, then what? Then I had to hit him. Then we're all fighting, and then it would not have ended up well.
Look, he's going to self-destruct if he keeps drinking like that. He can hit me all he wants.
No, he
but-
can't.
Well, maybe he can hit me a few times before I fall, but you know Maracar, he'd feel bad about it. This is the man that just apologizes. If he were to step on an ant, he would likely apologize.
Do you think he's going to wake up tomorrow and apologize?
Most likely, yes.
Just saying.
I bet he apologized already to Barleyman. But he's over there apologizing right now to Damrod.
You might be right. I don't think you're going to get an apology, Aurelion. I just don't.
I will take that. If he will take my words into consideration, then I will take no apology. Speaking of, I'm trying this sleep that he talked about. It's not as great as he described it as being.
You're just now trying the sleep?
I'm just now trying to sleep. I suppose it was comfortable laying on the bed at first, but after a while you just start to get sweaty and uncomfortable, and the pillow stops being cold.
Okay. Modern problems.
You broke Charlie.
What a life.
This is really third world problems.
That's really why the elves don't sleep.
Yeah, that's, if you're ever wondering why the elves don't sleep, it's because they don't like to sleep on a soft bed and get sweaty and nasty.
Yeah, exactly.
The pillow gets warm too. Ugh, so lame.
Unless there's something Rook wished to do.
I mean, tomorrow when it's light out, I'm gonna go and see if I can find somebody to help me get a hand in this.
Yeah. So, with your long rest, being taken in a nice, comfy bed, in a nice, comfy place, under the influence of some nice alcohol to knock you out, you will all then gain the benefits of your level up.
Is that why I didn't level up? Because I didn't drink?
Yeah, that's exactly it. You can all. Why don't you all just use this time to sort of talk about your character, what features your character is getting, or how your character is changing due to your level up. What sort of things are going to be your benefits?
Can I just say before we do that that Charlie really had me worried for a second when you asked what Rook was doing, and he said, "Well," I leaned back and started stroking the beard all like that. I was like, "Oh
Hey.
no!"
I cut it, and now it's growing back, and it looks fabulous again. So
It looks very fabulous.
Charlie's trying to start some drama.
Yeah.
That's what
He
I
was like,
I was worried about the other
I'll
elf.
tell you what I'm
It's my
doing."
turn now.
well, I was gonna have Snappy come back, but I'm like, nah.
So how about we start with Damrod? What features? What sort of expertise has your wanderer gone into?
So I have rumor of the earth now, which is just a fancy way of saying rumor, I guess.
Yeah.
But Damrod's tracking skills have gotten a lot better. He can actually press his ear to the ground and almost communicate with the earth. He can hear the earth make different noises depending on what's happening nearby.
This is
Yeah.
terrible. I thought you were going to say he can hear the earth make love.
I
Not
mean,
war.
the description literally says, with your ear
Don't
pressed
give me that look.
against the turf, you can decipher the sounds of the earth. You can hear it groan with the enemy when the enemy treads upon it, or echo the distant gallop of horses, or sing the tune of the rushing of tumbling waters. So, hearing the earth make love might not be out of the question.
Yeah.
Still
The
after the
grinding
break,
of those
though.
tectonic plates.
Yeah. I also have I took the Shadowbane archetype, so I have Foe of the Enemy now, which gives me a +2 damage to servants of the enemy.
Was that the earth?
That was the earth.
That was the earth telling me my burritos are done. So there's no this is kind of somewhat a low magic setting and things like that, but I imagine that when Damrod goes to fight a servant of the enemy, there's this almost like indistinct, like almost in, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. It's an almost, it's almost unnoticed. This kind of glow that comes over him, or comes over the blade that he's fighting with. Just it's like as if his passion or his drive or his fervor for fighting the enemy was manifest.
Yeah.
You may not ever actually notice it, but flavor wise, that's kind of, if it were to take physical form, that's what I would see.
In Damrod's from Damrod's point of view, all his attacks are like these anime axe swing attacks with lights and all sorts. It's like he's dual wielding axe lightsabers in his mind. You also get an extra skill proficiency, right, with the Shadowbane?
I'll have to look. I didn't notice that. I'll look again real quick.
I think it's the first sentence. I think you gain proficiency in the Shadow Law.
You might be right. I'll have to pull up the book again and check, because if I do, I miss that.
He's probably right.
Yeah,
more than likely, but
yeah. So
it would make it would also make sense, since it is the Shadowbane, and but
yeah, yeah. So like you gain a +2 damage to all your attacks against the servants of the shadow. So orcs, wargs, I think undead, evil men, trolls.
The book has listed orcs, goblins, spiders, trolls, and many evil men, and any other creature that willingly serves the Lord of Mordor.
Yeah, so perhaps not spirits all the time, but maybe some of them. Yeah, I quite like this archetype. It's very thematic for, I think, what you are going for as well. Rook, how about yourself? What archetype did you go with?
I went with
Or what
agent.
subclass? Yeah.
I have a proficiency with the disguise kit and the forgery kit. And then let's see here. I have it written down.
That's
And
going to
then
be so much fun.
the secrets gleaned are adept to observing the plans and weapons of your enemies. At level 3, if you spy on an enemy without being detected for at least 10 minutes, the lore master gets to pick one of the 4. It gives me a clue about the enemy's plan. I spot a potential weakness in the enemy, giving me or an ally advantage on the first attack you make against that particular foe. You gain a 1+ +1 bonus to the AC attacks made by that enemy, and it will last until a short rest. Or lastly, you can gain advantage on stealth ability checks made against that particular foe, and that lasts until a short rest is taken.
Yeah, I think you get the tradition skill as well with that,
Yeah.
don't you?
Yeah,
yeah. So, yeah, again, a pretty cool feature. You know, imagine the woodland elves spending time stalking their enemies through their woods while you know, gaining information on how they move, what they're talking about, you know, what weapons they have, coming up with a strategy and passing on that them details to the party and stuff. So, you know, you get some cool benefits that way. Maracar, what do you get from your level up?
So at level 3, I got to choose a path like just about everyone else.
Yeah.
And I chose the path of, what is it called? It is called the Forehammer. And the little feature that I gained was Armored Fury. So I can now wear heavy armor and still have the benefits of Rage, which is absolutely wild.
That's really good.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds bonkers, like just a mobile infantry unit of myself.
Yeah.
And then obviously I gained the heavy armor proficiency with that. And I'm seeing this level up as kind of Maracar almost getting like that shock of he's in a completely different world, and maybe a lot of like self-confidence, and he's gotten hit with the idea of like you can't always be passive. You have to be aggressive and be confident with your aggressiveness, to kind of handle certain threats that may come your way now that he's been kind of on the road traveling for a little bit. Um, and I like to think maybe a little bit of that also is, you know, he's gained a fair bit of shadow that I don't think he's ever really had to deal with, you know, aside from like, you know, general stuff. So I think a little bit of that is kind of making him realize that he might be a little more strong than even he understands at times.
Yeah. Again, it's an interesting route for Maracar to take that perspective, isn't it? Where
Mm-hmm.
you can imagine he made this journey as a farmer, as a woodsman, as a craftsman. You know, that
Mm-hmm.
was his profession. Now all of a sudden he's potentially lost his friend to some evil creature in the wilderness,
Mm-hmm.
that by God you're maybe not going to let that happen to anybody else,
Yeah.
and you're going to find out what's happened to her, and then you're going to, you know, seek your vengeance upon it,
Yeah, because he
whatever it
has
was, or
what's
anything
it?
else that does the same things. and your profession now has changed from woodsman, farmer, sculptor to I am like a weapon of vengeance. I am a slayer of evil things.
Yeah, and the big thing that I've been the big thing that I've been kind of thinking with Maracar is, like his shadow weakness is Curse of Vengeance. So I think that kind of long walk back from the troll cave, where he gained that shadow, I think a lot of that is kind of him trying to figure out, kind of like teetering on the edge of, I'm never going to let this happen to anyone or anyone that I care about, versus I'm going to take my vengeance for what has happened. And I think he's kind of teetering on that fence there, and he could go either way. But I think the big realization that has led him to start, in a sense, leveling up is on that walk back, he was thinking of, he's always thought of himself as a nice guy who wouldn't hurt a fly kind of thing. And he consciously realized that on that long walk back, he thought of terrible, terrible ways to hurt the person or hurt the being that did this to Nyla. And he thought of dark ways that he would take vengeance upon them. And I think that kind of sat with him a little longer than it should have. So he made the realization that, maybe I'm not as good as I thought I could be. Yeah. Because if I was that good, I wouldn't have these thoughts. Maybe I am like that. So he's kind of battling with a lot of that stuff now.
Yeah, excellent. Unfortunately, everyone, Aurelian is not leveling up this time, as the group are catching up to Aurelian first. He will level up next time, however, and stay a little bit ahead, but we'll go from there. This session was supposed to be the fellowship phase, where they were going to have a week of downtime.
But you know what happened? You put us in a tavern.
That's a fact.
And the group was going to have the week and describe the week that they have doing different activities. But again, some excellent role play, some excellent scenarios that you guys created in and out of the tavern. Some great characterization from all your characters as the dynamics continue to grow and mold. Having that conflict between Aurelian and Maracar was also good. Seeing how far Aurelian would push Maracar, and seeing Maracar become a little bit more than what he has been, which was like a young lad listening to all these other people. Well, he's not in the mood for that at this moment in time, and he's grown. So excellent session, I find. And we'll pick up 2 weeks time. We will pick up 2 weeks time and complete the fellowship phase and look to begin the next phase of the adventure here in Middle-earth. Over to you, Nathan. Charlie, right, I think you might be quiet again.
Anybody got any last words? I mean, things they want to say before we end the stream?
Last words before you kill us?
Any last words?
I have to yell so you can hear me, but Maracar, it's like when you're in character and you're pissed, like I actually look at you like you're mad, like you play that off really well.
It was very good. Good job, Nate.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Your cat is saying you did a good job too.
Yeah, that's it. She's been bitching outside the door since Cammy came
wagging
home.
her tail.
Yeah, she's like a dog.
That's so cute.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying exploring who Maracar is. He's a very interesting character for me. I know I know I always play the same character.
You don't. It's different.
And quite honestly, low key, I really like inter-party conflict.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think Ray knows that.
It's always you and I that, you,
yeah.
me and Kevin that go for that.
But yeah, good job to Ray
Good job to you, man. You did great.
for continuing to just push that a little farther. Very very happy with that little snippet of sessions, or that whole session. That was real fun.
I was wondering just how far that was gonna go.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out how far it's gonna go going into the next morning.
I thought Maracar stopping, because again he was still, I did say, because you passed your con saves, you was still sort of pretty much in control of what you were doing. So
yeah.
I felt Maracar would have probably stopped and did what he did. You formed enough of a bond and said enough things about supporting the group that I felt that was played perfectly.
Yeah, I was thinking that, like, I was trying to work out when Damrod came chasing after me. I'm trying to work out, like, okay, well, now it's like, hey, I'm trying to remove myself from the situation, and then here comes someone else. So I was trying to work out, like, okay, well, I mean, realistically, like, and I'm also thinking, in Marikar's mind, he was like, if he's upset enough, and if Damrod kept, like, come talk to me, stop, whatever, like all that stuff, I feel like Maracar might have just swung. And not to, like, really hurt anyone, or he's not going to kill Damrod, but I could see that situation going into, like, a literal fist fight. Just like maybe a couple rounds or something like that is kind of where I'm thinking at most it would, the thing would go. And I was like, this is getting a little interesting, trying to think of, like, all right, what's Maracar kind of feeling right now. Happy that he got to take his walk and not take up a whole lot of the session there. But yeah, I had a lot of fun.
Excellent. From me, thank you very much, everyone. It was a really fun session, and I was glad that I went from football and had no time but to jump straight into this. So that was that was really good.
You're welcome.
I needed both football and this, so that was great.
Especially everything you're going through. Thank you for taking your time.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah, I wouldn't have missed it for what happened. So, those things happen, don't they? They have to be done when it's the right time for it to be done, and it was. And so it was just, you remember the good times, and you remember, you don't remember the bad times, and you don't remember the time at the end. You just, remember the good times and the feelings, and then, I'm sure there'll be other times tomorrow and stuff where, there'll be some more reflections, I guess, even the Lore Master's reflections. But it was really good fun to jump in, and it was a great session.
Yeah, I had fun. I do have to wrap up and go, but I'd like to say, as Charlie said, Kevin, thank you. It's always great for you to show up and run our game for us. I mean, I don't know of anyone else, at least in our group and kind of in my little friends area, that would be as good of a fit to run Middle Earth than you are. I don't know how you have so much knowledge about it, but
he was made for this.
I'm glad.
I mean, I watched like Nerd of the Rings and Men of the West and those and The Broken Sword, and I saw like a lot of the stuff that he made references to. I was like, oh, I know what that is. So I mean, like, but he has substantial knowledge. Like, I don't know. Maybe did you read like all the books?
Yeah, I mean, I read Lord of the Rings first, and then went and read The Hobbit, and then I've read all the appendices, and then I was like, I just want more and more, and so I actually went to the library I was probably 16, 17, and got the Silmarillion out and read the Silmarillion. I was like, I want more, and then I found the Unfinished Tales, so I grabbed that, and I was like, yeah, and I read the Unfinished Tales, which just expands on the Silmarillion and some things from Lord of the Rings and stuff like that. Yeah, and then I was hooked. I'm the same with A Song of Ice and Fire as well. Read the books, and I just want more. I want more. I want more. And then you dive into the YouTube channels, like I said, Men of the West. I think it's Tolkien Untangled, a guy called Rainbow Dave. He's got a lot of lore knowledge. Charlie, if you want to check out his videos, they're very good as well.
Rainbow Dave.
Yeah. And yeah, that's very good as well. Yeah, so I just loved it. Love the deep history as much as the story of Lord of the Rings itself, to be honest. And the Silmarillion's actually maybe got more interesting stories in it than the Lord of the Rings in regard to character struggle and growth and like tragedy that's in the Silmarillion. So yeah, it's just a tough read, but yeah, I'm glad I'm getting to run it because I love the setting. I love the characters that have been created within the world. You fit really well, so it's really good. So let's let Nathan get off.
Well, we really do appreciate it, Kevin.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not just the Lord of the Rings games you run, but the other games you've run for us too. I've always enjoyed the games I've been in with you, so I really do appreciate you taking the time to run the games for us. So
Yeah,
thank
running
you
or
very
playing.
much.
Thank you.
I posted the links to Nate and Ray's channel, Twitch channel, since they're both joined the streaming team now. Yeah, go check them out. Other than Ray's pigeon dating games, usually the streams are pretty fun. And we always have a good time over on Nate's stream. We just got to get Ray to move on from the pigeons, and we'll be good. So.
Well, she finished the pigeons.
I finished pigeons. I'll be back.
I'm sure
with
she'll
pigeons in
find
the
more.
There's a
She
pigeon
did.
dating
She did
sim.
play it up the other day.
Yeah. There is a holiday version of the pigeon dating sim, so I'll be playing that around Christmas.
Yeah,
It's just a big old PowerPoint.
I kind of enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was fun to pop in there and
Mhm.
be like, what the fuck's going on? No,
need
it
to
was
find
a
more-
good time.
I
Need some more
joke.
weird dude.
I joke.
Yeah.
I have fun over there when I get to show up on Ray streams, but I'm
Mhm.
never
Mhm.
not gonna give Ray a hard time about dating pigeons. So
That's fine. I need to find more weird dating sims, which there are a lot of
there's
them.
plenty. There's plenty.
There's one where you date dinosaurs.
Yeah,
There
Well,
we
Where
go.
you
On
you
that
date
note,
dogs.
I think I'm gonna have to go, Ray.
Wait,
Before we go too far
I
down
can tell
this
you all about the
dating
weird dating
rabbit hole.
sims.
No, I think we're good.
We'll see you all in another dimension.
yes.
Bye.